Welcome back to the channel, people. KG is back, and it is match reaction time. There is 90 minutes of my life. I'm never getting back. They're never coming back, people. So that's the way it goes, I guess, sometimes. Bristol City 0, or I should call them IKEA FC 0, Leeds United 0. And I don't know what we're going to get from this game, but we'll pick through some of the things. But that was so bad. Oh, my Lord. That was so dry. And the worst thing is, there wasn't even a Premier League game on to go on next to it that I could like switch my focus to. It was fully on this game. And yeah, what a waste, eh? What a waste. Wakey, everyone. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's wake it up. Yeah. Let's wake it up. Tasha here. I mean, say how you feel, Tasha. Absolute garbage, slow, predictable, sideways, backwards, and no bite. Keep giving the ball away. Deserve nothing out of this. I do think we deserve something out of it. But for me, again, we're talking about points dropped. That is 2 points dropped today. Bristol City, it's quite weird, isn't it? They weren't defended in deep blocks, but they weren't really doing anything to try and win the game. It's a really weird one watching Bristol City because they were quite wide open, but we were just so bad with our final ball, and it was all around. There wasn't just like one person culpable today. There was multiple people. Like if we got the pass right, someone would miscontrol it. If someone was in a good area, the pass would be too long. It was just disjointed all over the place today, and maybe that is just a case of playing so many games in a little time. But I'm starting to like backtrack with that a bit for myself because I'm seeing other games and other teams where people are playing Premier League games, Champions League games, Europa League games, and playing it again on the weekend. So if it's a fitness issue, maybe they need to work that out. But yeah, it was just not good today, people. Oh, just not good. Yeah, and I think, you know what? This just sums it up. This is it. Our passing was awful. It was dreadful today. Absolutely dreadful. Darren here, though, worst of all was Byram. I was screaming at them not to pass to him. When you're looking for Byram, in terms of the way that he plays, I think that he filled in pretty well for today. He's not going to be as dynamic as Firpo, but there was a couple of key what do we call them, interceptions that he made in the first half that were very vital because Bristol City did open us up maybe 2 or 3 times, and he was there on 2 of them. But yeah, going forward, you're not going to get what Firpo brings to you. There's a reason why with all, you know, Firpo's defensive awareness, maybe he's not there doing what Byram did in that instance, but going forward, Firpo just gives you a different dimension. And when we're on the front foot like we are in this division, you do need that in the team. Hyru, well, listen, let's just get into it. Hyru here is asking, where is Isaac Schmidt? Do we need to put his face on a milk carton? I'm going to say this, and let me just make a prediction from now. Unless Byram has gone off injured today or has anything he needs to manage in the next week, guaranteed next week it's going to be Firpo at left back, Byram at right back. We didn't even see Schmidt as a sub today. But this is one of these things where Schmidt was brought in as the left back, and it's just one of these things now where you think, have they looked at him up close in training and thought, ooh, maybe he's not at the level, because he should have been playing today, if we're being real. You know, Byram really should be the substitute right back, Schmidt the left back. I know both of them can play both sides. He obviously went with Byram today as he's, you know, tried and trusted in his eyes. Probably a bit more defensive just to counter anything Bristol City may have had, which was a whole lot of nothing. Let's be real. By the way, yeah, so let me just say, Schmidt, to me, will be on the bench next week. I think it's going to be Firpo, Byram next week because Jaden Bogle is just going to be suspended for the Plymouth game. Yeah, that was the championship game of all time. So bad. Norse is saying 2 points dropped. Correct. So glad I got up at 4:30 a.m. Reminds me of Rotherham away last season. Schmidt must be well off the pace if Byram, I think he means if Byram starts ahead of him. Yeah, and that's all we can gauge from it. We don't see what these players do in training. You can hear things, you can read about things, but we don't see them. And for me, if Isaac Schmidt isn't getting a start or even getting substitute minutes, people, there must be a little something there. And it kind of goes against what Angus Kinnear said on the Square Ball interview, saying that we've only bought players in that are ready for us now, not in 6 months. So you reckon that they parked the bus? I don't feel like, you know what it is for me, people, the way I saw the game, and this is just from my point of view, of course, the way Bristol City played is that I don't feel like they parked the bus because there was gaps in their defense. It's just that we were just so poor executing our final ball or the finishing touch that they managed to just get out of the game with a point. Of course, there was the chances. The first one in particular, and we can just go through them because there weren't that many people. There was Rothwell in the first half. I feel like if he gets that on target, that's a goal. Maybe he should have done better. There was one where Bogle hit the side netting. Second half, Aronson hits the side netting, and of course, Nanto had one cleared off the line. But apart from that, there really wasn't much else. Let's see. RP here saying we let them get in good shape due to the slow pace. Yeah, and maybe there's that. But for me, when I've seen deep blocks this season, and we've seen them multiple times this season already, it's way different from what Bristol City did today. I just feel like we were just really bad with the final ball. And I think Farker he'll come away in the public and say that was a good point on the road, etc. But that is 2 points dropped today. We should have beaten Bristol City today. By the way, I need to say this. That crowd today was so dead. Like, why was the crowd that dead? I don't know if my surround system had a problem with the sound. Whenever the camera cut to them anyway, they were all just sitting there like this. There was no songs. And then you hear the stat about Bristol City losing about 35 games at Ashton Gate over the last few years. I can see why. The atmosphere is absolutely dead. Absolutely. SST saying, why did the ref let them kick us all over from the off? Yeah, I mean, even the first one, the very first one in the first minute on Dan James, you could almost say that was a yellow card. But yeah, but that's what you get at championship level, and that's why you get away with it in these kind of games. That's why the Premier League 0-0s and Championship 0-0s are so different, because in the Prem, you can't get away with stuff like that. But in the Championship, it's part of the course, isn't it? Absolutely. Let's have a look here. Ted here saying everything on the offense was on the left-hand side. Peru invisible on the right. Peru was on the right. He was down the middle, but again, this was another game for Peru. And this is the thing with Peru and the difference between him and Joseph. When Joseph's not scoring goals, he gets himself involved in the play. He will drop back and say, all right, I'm not getting the ball. Let me do something. Peru doesn't exactly do that. And that's the difference you're going to get in the two. And I do wonder for next week's game, and I guess we'll speak about it next week, I would probably put Joseph back in there up top and then give Peru those substitute minutes again. That would just be me, but we'll talk about that next week, of course. Yeah, I agree with this, Darren, and it's crazy how that goes, because usually as the game goes on later, and I saw, like I say, I know a few of you think Bristol City parked the bus. I didn't see that. I actually thought they were playing quite open and were willing to try and get us on the break themselves and put a few players forward. But we got worse as the game went on, and then when Solomon came on, and we'll talk about the players. But Solomon is still not up to the races. And listen, Dan James gave us quite a bit today, but you could see if that's a fully fit Dan James that's running through against those two Bristol City defenders, he's away. But then he stopped his run. He then did a sloppy pass into Nanto when then he fell over. You know, Dan James is still building up to full fitness. And I feel he gave us a few good things today. But a fully fit Dan James today, I feel absolutely runs the length of the pitch and maybe even gets a finish in. Oh, Dan James also had a chance that the keeper saved after a lovely through ball from Nanto as well. So there was another one. Lewis here saying so late with the changes when the game was stagnant. Yeah, that was something for me that I was thinking. We got to 65 minutes and Bristol City had made some changes. And I guess we could all see there was already a few players there that you could see needed to come off. And we waited until the 70th minute to make our changes. I feel we should have done those 10 minutes earlier, but that's just me. I don't have their fitness data, to hand. Yeah, it wasn't good game management. Listen, Farker, I've given him his praise when he's done well, but I feel today he did mismanage it in terms of the substitutions. I don't think Dan James should have been on as long as he was. And I feel like maybe Sam Byram could have been taken off early for Schmidt. But again, we don't know what condition Schmidt's in because we don't get to see him. Yeah, points dropped, absolutely. Yeah, Mr. Anthrope, why take Nanto off at that time, replace him with Bamford? Honestly, yeah. I mean, a lot wasn't really falling for Nanto apart from that one where he got cleared off the line. But it wasn't bringing on Bamford. I mean, just the way the guy looks, I'll be real with you. He looks like he's about 52 when he moves on the pitch. And no offense to any 52-year-olds, I'm sure you're all in great shape. Love you all. But as far as a professional football player going for promotion, he looks way off it. You may as well not make the sub. If you want to bring Nonto off, just bring him off and leave 10 men on it. It's pointless. It's absolutely pointless bringing on Bamford these days. And I find it very telling that even this set of commentators, I mean, the Scottish guy was talking about Bamford and giving him these imaginary things. But when the main play-by-play commentator was talking, he mentioned all our bench options and he left Bamford off his list. And that's all I'll say. Keith saying, and Solomon looks 38 so slow. Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, I agree, David, and I agree with everyone else in terms of Solomon. He's admitted himself. I guess the thing for Solomon is that he's admitted himself this week, and I mentioned it on the preview yesterday, that he has said he is not there yet. He's not fit. But boy, we do need to see more for the kind of money we're paying. And I look at, and I just go back to this. If we are not getting what we should be getting from Solomon by January, I need to see the Jed Spence treatment. Because listen, again, I don't need to say I was right again, because I just am. It's as simple as that. Jed Spence has gone back to Tottenham. He went out on loan to Genoa, impressed there. They wanted to buy him. Tottenham looked at Jed Spence in the summer and said, actually, you're doing really well, mate. Signed a new contract there. But what we had with Jed Spence was we had him, we tried to play him out of position. He picked up an injury. There was all these nasty things reported about him, which, weren't true. It's as simple as that. And he got his contract was terminated pretty much the first week in January, maybe even the first couple of days of the window. I'm not saying that I want this to happen with Solomon, but I'm saying if we're not getting what we should be getting from a £50,000 a week player on loan, we have to look at that. And I would hope that Leeds United have put plans in place, knowing his injury history, to say if it's not working out in January, whether there's a loan termination clause that they have to pay, you have to do it. Cool. But there has to be something. But I've still got hope in Solomon to come good, but he's got to go up to speed, man. He looks way off it, man. And this was the thing, though. I said when we signed him, it's a good signing if he stays fit and if he does what he did before he moved to Spurs. But the fitness things was always going to be an issue. I went through his injury history with you on, I can't even remember the site it was. You don't just come back from that and go full tilt. He was always going to need to build up for full fitness, and then picking up an injury was never going to be ideal. But yeah, so what people saying? And listen, I know there's some passionate Solomon fans out there. I'm not speaking to those. They're kind of moving like the American fans, in all honesty, when it comes to criticism of any Aronson or whoever it was before. But I want him to succeed, because I do believe when he's in the team, as long as he's there and he's fit, when you bring in on someone like that, it's a big advantage at this level. It's huge, but not when he's moving the way he's moving at this point in time. It's very awkward to watch. I'll be real with you. Lewis here saying Solomon injury record, terminate that loan in the winter transfer. We shall see. Mike saying I'm in my 60s and I move faster than Bamford. Tremendous. Jason, great, good comment here. Seems like we just went through the motions without any intent. I agree with that. We need to get out this league, not like this. Where's the conviction? Yeah, we're obviously going to need to be better, but this is the things I always try and point out. A lot of people will say take the point and move on. We didn't lose, and etc. But in order to get the top two people, you need to string a long, run of W's together, and this was a perfect one to do it. It was a perfect game to do it in, and we've failed in that regard yet again. But yeah, it's good to not lose the game today, of course. But yeah, if we want top two without even thinking about playoffs, you've got to win these games. You have to. We're seeing other teams around us do it, but let's see what happens on these 3 o'clock kickoffs. Lewis saying here, as you said, availability is the best ability or something like that. Lewis, I've changed that now. I've changed that. It would be interesting to see if anyone else changed it. Now I've changed it. But I've changed that now, because you can actually be available, Lewis, and be absolutely garbage in every game you play. For me, it's not about that. It's about just how consistent you are. It's about how consistently you turn up, how consistently you put the effort in, how consistently you put in the hard yards, and how consistently you perform in your position. So for me, it's not about availability anymore. That was an old thing that I used to say, but it's about consistency for me. Is it D Parker's birthday? Happy birthday to D Parker. I must have missed that in the chat, but salute to you, D Parker. Carl, the Sky adverts at halftime were more entertaining than the game, and I can't remember what they were. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. Michael here, why can't Farker start with Schmidt? He offers more going forward than Byram. Yeah. Well, listen. Let's have a look at the. Let's go through a couple of the members of the team today. There really won't be a lot today. There really won't be a lot. But you know what? I'll give praise to Melier today. Did all the basics properly. Nothing wrong with Melier today. Did everything that you just want a goalkeeper to do in our position when we've got most of the ball. We go on the front foot most of the time. He even commanded a cross and near the edge of his box, came way out of his 6-yard area, collected it, caught it, didn't do any silly punches. Salute to you, Melier. Good, just steady. That's all we ask for. That's what. Let me speak for myself. That's all I ask for. Just be steady. So Melier, yeah. Bogle, yeah. Listen, you know what? We could do this quite a few of these players here. It's like meh, meh. The midfield too. I thought Tanaka wasn't at the races today, and I thought he was getting really frustrated as well as the game went on. And he's now picked up a second booking in a week, which is something we need to keep an eye on because we got Roden, who's on 4 now. We know that Bogle's missing the next one. Firpo, again, he gets to start again when he comes back in, but he just needs to be a bit mindful. Ruffwell, apart from that shot today, again, second game in a row for me, Ruffwell's been kind of ineffective. And that's a shame because I really want Ruffwell to put a stamp on it. The corners as well, for me, weren't that good that he was delivering. So yeah, it wasn't but this isn't just isolated to him, but just talk about his individual performance. I don't feel he put a stamp on the game, and I thought Ruffwell, in fact, today was passing back quite a little bit more than he usually did. But yeah, Brendan today, I think maybe today was a step too far. And listen, I got the team right yesterday, barring Schmidt. He was the only one that didn't start. It was everyone else that played. But maybe Aronson as well, maybe felt a little bit of it today. But Willie Nanto took players out, but again, not effective enough. And Joel Peru, it wasn't him, it wasn't his day today. And that's unfortunate. And that's why for me, I give him the second match, but I think Joseph should come back in against Plymouth at home. Leeds, yeah, exactly. And Allison just echoed it above you. Sorry, definitely missed Fopo and Ramazani big time. We missed that connection down the left, and that's the thing. We missed those two, but we also missed the connection with Ramazani and Nanto because they were building something special, man. And I could see it almost felt like a Nanto Somerville thing. And I'm not comparing Ramazani to Somerville. Like I've seen the disrespect on Somerville's name, man. Crazy stuff. How people forget, but they were building up a nice little partnership on that side, man. And it's just a shame it's going to be interrupted at least until December as it is. So, but yeah, it was just disjointed today. I think that's the best word I can put the performance today. Very disjointed all over the place. Bar Melier, which is something that I never thought I'd say. Michael, you're saying, I just hope Sunderland, Burnley drop points today. Just don't want those teams gaining points over us. Yeah. Well, look, there's nothing we can do about anybody else. We just have to concentrate on ourselves, keep getting the points on the board. Plymouth at home, got to win that game. Should have won today. Got to win that game at home next week. No excuses at all. And we move on. But yeah, just a poor showing today. And I'm, thankful everyone for joining me. I didn't know anyone would wake up for this match reaction, but salute to you. Salute to you. SST saying here it was physical from the off. Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah, we needed Joseph to knock their back line around from the off. Yeah, a little bit more. But that's why I said yesterday in the preview, I went with Peru, but I did say if we do need to press from the front a little bit more, which obviously we did today, then Joseph would be the one because that is not Peru's game, and you shouldn't expect it from Joel Peru. It's stupid to expect it from him. He just looks awkward doing it. So yeah, if we knew what it was going to be. But you know what else I look at from Bristol City today? They lost their second choice left back and they had to go to their third. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean today. There were so many opportunities. Both teams had injuries, but their injury should be more significant than ours because our quality should still be there. Whereas they're going to their third choice left back. We should be exploiting that a bit more. And we just didn't. We just didn't today. Yeah. Crypto Steve ×2. I'd say Pascal played well, and that's about it. Yeah, Strout was fine. I think even Roden was fine because they didn't really have that much to do. But when they made their subs in the second half, don't know what their big strikers called for Bristol City, but he came on. He was a little bit more physical. But again, there wasn't too much to do. But they did what they had to do very well in that end, I should say. Yeah, that's another one as well. We never put a full press on them, not once, man, not once. It's a shame. It's a shame, man, because that should have been just a nice 3 points. We move on to the next one, cool. But now we've drawn it. It's drop points, and we just hope we're not calculating it when it comes to the end of the season and regretting it. So listen, people, we're going to get out of here very soon because listen, you can't really do too much on a 0-0. If there's anything major, if Arca says anything major, we'll come back tomorrow with another stream. So just put the notification bell on so you know when I'm going live or uploading a video and you won't miss anything. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel if you want to. So listen, people, temporarily, right, we're up to second, all right? But it's very temporary because in about 15 minutes, the 3 o'clock kickoffs go. And I doubt we're going to be there come the end of the day. If we are, cool, but I think it's very unlikely with the games that the other teams around us have got. I mean, just look at Bristol City, though. I got to say this. I mean, this is tremendous. And this is why I call them IKEA FC. This is literally their last 6 games. They've drawn 5 out of the 6. Amazing. Amazing. But listen, people, I think that is it. Is there anything else from the subs? No, we didn't see Guilavogi today, which I didn't expect to see. He's talked about Solomon. Just get better, Solomon, please, because the quality's there, but the fitness just isn't. Joseph, Bamford, Gelhardt, yeah, he wasn't, you know, back on the bench, but not used, which is, you know, something that I think we need to discuss for the January window. But yeah, we'll leave it there. But listen, people, thank you for tuning in. I know it wasn't a great game. I hope you've enjoyed the stream as much as possible. Anyway, we dig the bones out of what we could today. Like the video before you go, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, people. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Peace out.